Hey guys, CD here, and I wanted to talk to you guys about some stuff. I'm actually re-recording a video because the one that I shot on this topic last time, I feel like that what I wanted to say didn't come through clearly because I was stuttering a lot. So I'm re-recording it. And I'm going to start off this video with a thread that I found on Twitter. And it says the following. Black people aren't affected by bullying in school because most of our bullying comes from home. Black parents are the biggest and worst bullies I've ever seen, and it's even worse because they think it's justified. The whole demeanor of a majority of black parents is, I'm right and you're wrong. This is not a safe space. Anything going against what I say is disrespectful, even if it makes sense. Do what I say or I'll badger you into doing it. I don't have to respect you, but you go and respect me. When my sisters have issues, they come to me and not our parents. And when I ask them, have you told mom or dad about it? It's always no, because they're not going to understand. And that's crazy. Now, what I wanted to say, well, I was watching a K-drama, you guys, and it featured Joy from Red Velvet. And in this drama, she was having issues with her mom. And in one of the argument scenes, Joy said that her mom was a sponsor parent. And the way she defined the term for a sponsor parent, it made complete sense to me. So for those of you who don't know, a sponsor parent is your typical run-of-the-mill parent, mom, dad, single dad, two moms, two dads. You get the whole gist. And they provide everything their child needs in terms of material stuff. So they make sure their child has clothes to wear, has food to eat, has their education all together, a house over their head, things that you think that every child needs. Now, well, that you know that every child needs and that legally every child needs, but the big mistake that these parents make is that there's not much emotional nurturing or emotional guidance or really much of an emotional care. I have this issue with my parents because, me and my parents don't have a good relationship. And every time we argue, there's always this sense of they brought you into this world, so they're not obligated to care about anything else about you. The fact that you even exist in this world shows that they care. The fact that you have food to eat and clothes on your back shows that they care, But the issue with this as well is that I had to hear my parents tell me that from a young age that when I told them that I was stressed, they told me to be quiet because you don't know what stress is. You're just a kid. Mom, Dad, I'm depressed. Be quiet. You don't know what depressed is. And I tried to explain my anxiety to them, and they told me to be quiet and that I was just being over dramatic. There are kids who their emotional and mental issues are constantly being shrugged off by their parents because their parents believe that, why are you having these issues? I gave birth to you. I raised you. I provided your food, the money you need for school. You should be grateful. You shouldn't be having any of these problems, And what this girl says when she says that most of our bullying comes from home, honestly, that is true. Most of the bullying I faced growing up came from my parents, not my peers. To clarify what I mean a bit more is that some parents, or a lot of parents actually, live with this mindset that they can do or say whatever they want simply because they're your parents. They can call you names. They can spread rumors about you to other family members. They can just make up lies about you. They could just overall mentally and emotionally abuse you and manipulate you just because they're your parents. And God forbid you disagree with them, because if you do, you're this ungrateful child. Like, how dare you disagree with them? You could even make an argument that is completely and 100% logically valid and correct. And they could be completely in the wrong. But because they're your parents, they don't have to comply to that. Even if they're wrong, they're right because they're your parents. They're not obligated to take any form of responsibility for the wrong actions they take in life because they're your parents. And I think that there's something horribly wrong with that. Now, I'm not saying that every parent has to be perfect. We're humans. We're flawed creatures. We weren't designed to be perfect. We were never created to be perfect. It's impossible for us to be perfect. You know, and but there is a certain level of respect and gratefulness that has to be given to a parent. After all, you guys did bring us into this world. You did give us life. But with when you decide to take on that responsibility of a parent, understand something. You are our moral teachers. You are our ethic teachers, our cultural guides, our philosophical our philosophical coaches. You are At the same time, you're also our support systems, not just our financial support systems, but you have to be our emotional support system, our mental support system. We are kids. We're here. We are made in your image. You are our parents. We are a combination of your genes, of your genetics. We're not here to be your punching bags. And no, once again, I'm not saying that every parent has to be perfect, but understand something. We are kids. Those first 20 to 25 years of our life, we are dumb. We are still learning. We still are trying to understand how to process emotions. We're still trying to find ourselves. And I'm not saying that parents aren't allowed to have mental health or emotional issues of their own, but the burden of that should not be placed on the kids. Us young people, we're still trying to understand emotions, how to process emotion, how to properly give and receive love. We're still trying to understand our existence. We're trying to understand the world around us. It's full of so many complex and complicated things. And it gets really frustrating how in one breath, an adult will tell you, you need to grow up. You need to start being more mature. You need to start acting like an adult. And then when we try to do so, it turns into, you're just a kid. Stop acting like you know everything. You're still a child. You still have a lot of growing up to do. Stop acting like you know everything. And it's just like, you know, it's like, I go to, what? This goes back to what that young lady was saying earlier about how her sisters didn't feel comfortable going to their parents for advice because they didn't believe that their parents would understand. And honestly, they have every right to believe that. To the parents watching, unless you establish early on that your kids can feel comfortable and they can feel safe coming to you for advice, unless you make them feel that their parents is a safe space, that their parents are a safe space, they will never feel that. And they're going to seek out that comfort, that nurturement, that love from outside sources, whether it be from cousins, from aunties and uncles, from their peers. And before you know it, they could get mixed up in some very dangerous stuff because they didn't feel that sense of love from you. And some parents try to combat this by just cutting their kids off from everything that they love and trying to force that relationship to happen. You're only going to make it worse because, like, honestly, my parents have tried to do that. My parents thought that by like cutting me off from from driving, from K-pop, from YouTube. They tried to, it didn't work out. They thought that by trying to cut me off from certain things, that was gonna improve how I was in terms of our relationship with each other. And that didn't that didn't work. It just made things worse. It just made me push away from them even harder, you know? So people really need to understand that at the end of the day, we're humans. Yes, we are your kids, but we're humans. And we're not going to change just because you scream at us in your parent voice. We are humans with our own opinions, our own emotions, our own thoughts, and as I said, they are not going to change just because you scream at us in your parents' voice. Just because you are our parents, at some point in time, we're going to start thinking as individuals. We're going to start thinking as our own person. We're going to stop thinking like we're just your kids. That doesn't mean that all the bad experiences that we had with you as our parents is not going to still stick with us. I really wish people would understand how much what happens to you in the first few years of your life can affect you later on. Those first 20 to 25 years are are the most vulnerable years of your life because you're naive, you're still learning. Like I said, there's so many things that you have to process and learn to understand and be ready for. You know, what happens to me at the age of 5 can affect how I choose to live my life at the age of 50, and even so far as the age of 95. You know, just one experience can affect me years down the line. You know, some scars we're born with, and we can't help that we're born with these scars, and we just have to live with them. You know, some scars are for the betterment of ourselves. Some scars teach us a lesson. Some scars are the reason we become better people. And at the same time, there are also the scars that harm us. There are scars that cause us to inflict pain on others. There are scars that force us to have to go to therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists. And the last people we should expect to receive these bad scars from are our parents. You know, our parents are the last people we need to feel these bad scars from. And I really hope that whoever's watching this, whether it be a parent or a child, takes a moment to reflect and to understand and to fix the relationship they have with each other, because honestly it shouldn't be common for kids and parents to have a bad relationship. You know, the whole narrative of having a bad relationship with parents and kids should not be the norm. It really shouldn't. And it's unfortunate that in a lot of cases it is the norm. Anyways, you guys, I hope you all learned something from this video. I'm CD from AK3R for anyone, CD and the players. All the links to my social media are in the description of this video. Shout out to my co-hosts featured on this channel, past, present, and future. I'm CD. Goodbye.